There's one ground rule is I haven't watched any spring ball. I haven't looked at all the rosters and seen all the transfer moves because there's so many moves in the transfer portal. This is just like a basis of I'm looking at each individual schedule, like I'm looking at Utah's schedule, or I'm looking at Texas Tech's schedule, Colorado schedule, Arizona State schedule. Like I'm looking at them and I'm giving them the best interest when I'm looking at it. Even though if you look at all these predictions and try to add them up, wait, you had Utah beating this team here, but then you had, Colorado beating this team here, TCU beating that team there, Arizona losing this game when on the other end. No, it's not going to make sense. No, it's not going to add up. But in these predictions individually, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because when I predict it week by week and like give an official prediction and stuff, that's going to come later in a different live stream. So this is just like my first go at it, looking at it, schedule summer wise for the whole Big 12. So now we have queso is cheese. We have Arizona and their schedule coming off of last year's heroics, going in the Alamo Bowl against Oklahoma and ending on a win streak, sneaking out of nowhere where everybody was like, whoa, who's this team? Give me New Mexico. Give me NAU. Hot 2-0 start. Okay, at Kansas State. Why not? That's a win. At Utah. I'm up in the air about this one, but leaning towards the yet no, because Healthy Cam Rising squad, okay, versus Texas Tech, that's a win. At BYU, that's a win. Versus Colorado, they're at home against Colorado, that could be a win, yeah. Versus West Virginia, ooh, that's at home, yeah, that could be a win. At UCF. See, okay. So to this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, at this point, they're 7-1 or they're 8-0. They've got to lose one. You know how it is. I would say this is the maybe loss where it's like, oh, look, we're in November. We just finished October. They just finished this gauntlet of having to play Utah and then BYU. And then going over to Colorado. No, playing at, I don't know. Oh, no. Okay, versus Houston. That's a win. At TCU, I'm going to say that's a loss. And then at home against Arizona State. It's going to be a win. They blew out the Sun Devils last year. And they just made a mockery of them. And I don't think it's going to change. Even though it's a rivalry game, I mean, come on. ASU is still ASU. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 wins. 9 wins and potentially 3 losses. Okay. 9 wins, 3 losses. This team seems pretty stacked. Coming off of last year. So we'll just have to see. I'll have to just double check with the rosters and watch some spring ball. But I would say right now, like a first mock draft, Arizona goes 9-3. Okay, who's next on the list? Arizona State. Here we go. Arizona State. Bum 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 bum. I've already looked at this schedule just a little bit because it's like I am a Sun Devil fan where it's like, yeah, I want to go to some of the Sun Devil games. Of course I do. You think I'm driving my ass all the way down to Tucson? Hell no. That's a long ass drive and I don't think my car could make it. All right, for the Sun Devils, at home against Wyoming. I don't know, man. I don't know. I know this Mississippi State one's probably gonna because it's an SEC school. At Texas State, yeah, I think they could win that one. At Texas Tech, at home against at home against Utah. Oh boy. Okay, they gotta win at least. There's our upset right there against BYU. Against Wyoming? Sure, yeah. Give them a win. Okay, then the loss against Mississippi. Okay, here we go. At Cincinnati, just because Cincinnati has fallen off a cliff since their Cotton Bowl loss against Alabama a few years ago in the college football playoff, and there's Fickle went to Wisconsin, and they've lost a lot of people, and like the program's just kind of disappeared. I don't know where Cincinnati's at right now. And you know what? After this loss streak of 3 in a row against Texas Tech, Kansas, and Utah, Gimme. I mean, they played last year and they lost to them. Now, UCF, why not? Let's give them a win. At Kansas State, come on now, we're not delusional. And then at Arizona. Unfortunately, the rivalry, turf war, loss. So, I mean, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 and 7. That's not. Come on. Come on. That's not bad. Oh. 3 and 9. 3 and 9 to 5 and 7. Come on. That's a big jump. That is a big jump. And yet you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be their support. I mean, I have to. Like, how many? I went to 4 games last year, I think. So still got to support the Sun Devils, man. So yeah, that's that's my prediction. I'm only laughing. Like, I'm being serious. Like, I'm not trying to clown, but 5 and 7 would be an honest. Oh man, I love the detail of. Look at that, dude. I love that. That's a good. This is a good. I love this Photoshop work. This is a good. It's good. This is good. Okay. Oh, and the colors. Oh, the color lines up perfect. You know what? But because it is Baylor, hold on. Yeah, dropped. The one thing that I will say about Baylor before we ever get into the prediction video is, dude, their new uniform combos. It's their home unis. No, not these ones. I want to see this one, but just more. Yeah. Tell me that this is not the Green Bay Packers, man. Hold on, let me copy it. Let me paste it right here for you all to see. Tell me that this is not the Green Bay Packers. The Baylor Packers. Anyways, okay, we're out of here. I think they can start. Oh, man, and then they got to play Utah quick. Nope. Air Force was good last year, but, I mean, it's a brand new season. At Colorado. Probably not. At home against BYU. I could see that as a win. At Iowa State. I could see that as a win. At Texas Tech. No. At home against Oklahoma State. No. At home against TCU. I'm indifferent. Maybe. At West Virginia. No. At Houston. That Houston game. Maybe. So give me that one. We'll go yes. So. They're a 6-6 kind of team. Like, they're middle of the pack. This Oklahoma State and TCU game, from an outsider perspective, when I look at these games, I see upset potential, but for the Cowboys and for the Horned Frogs, where the Horned Frogs might be the more favored team, but it's like, hey, we're going into Baylor, where it's an October upset type of week, where, oh my gosh, 5 of the top 10 teams just, disappeared and left their offense at home. Okay, who's next? BYU football. Dude, relax. Didn't know you were allowed to have that much drip. Not gonna lie, these royal blue, oh man. BYU has good colors, but I know a lot of BYU. Oh man, okay, never mind. Okay, football, BYU football 2024. And I like to clown on them all the time. Delusion. Fantasy world. 2020 football. Like, they had a last year one of their promos was like Pac-12 farewell tour. No, independent farewell tour or something before they joined a conference, because they thought they were too good for a conference. Like, I heard that, like, a lot of people in my family were big Cougar fans, and so I heard it all up and down growing up that we don't need a conference. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Because if everybody and their dog, Bama wins the SEC, Oklahoma wins the Big 12, USC wins the Pac-12, Notre Dame goes undefeated, Michigan wins the Big 10, or Ohio State wins the Big 10. Like, let's say all of the Power 5 conferences all have one loss or go undefeated, win their conference. Notre Dame's undefeated, and BYU's undefeated. Okay, there are 6 teams that I just listed, even the runners up in the Big-XII or the SEC, that they'd put in the college playoff before an undefeated Cougar team. So that's just my thoughts on that. Okay, hold on. Let's get this schedule rolling, though. Okay, Southern Illinois, no reason they should lose that. At SMU. Okay, there's no reason why they shouldn't lose this one. It's BYU's a weird, sneaky good team where they'll beat SMU, but then they'll play Wyoming close. Where it's like, okay, we should have lost. Okay, for example, they're 3-0. I have them personally starting 3-0. But then they're at home against Kansas State, where it's like, they lose this one, but then they go blow out Baylor. Okay. At home against Arizona. Come on, man. Don't make me do this. Okay. At home against Oklahoma State. No. At UCF? Sure. At Utah? No way in hell, brother. At home against Kansas? I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent because it's like maybe? Put a maybe. Put a maybe on that one. Oh, well, hello. Go back. At Arizona State. Nope. We got to give Arizona State a win. And then at home against Houston, yeah, that can be a win. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 5-7, 6-6, middle of the pack kind of team, where, yeah, they'll go beat up on Kansas and they'll beat Kansas, and Kansas will be ranked in the top 20. But then they'll go to Arizona State, and at that point, Arizona State will only have 3 wins, and then it's like, wah, wah. They played the Sun Devils, and the Sun Devils, like, the Sun Devils are so weird, man. They played everybody last year so close. Like, they played USC close with Caleb Williams. They played Colorado close. They, like, I don't know. It's so weird. The only team they didn't play close was the Oregon game where they got smacked. Okay, so that's my prediction for BYU. Middle of the pack, 6-6. Okay. All right, who's next? Cincinnati. Is this official? Copy image. For Cincinnati. What? Wait, what's home and away? Let's dive into it. I mean, I think they could start the season out really hot. 4 wins in a row. But then they got to go on the road to play Texas Tech. And that's where I think things get a little dicey, where they lose to Texas Tech and then they lose to UCF. Okay, they're 4-2. They come home against the Sun Devils, whoop up on them. But then they got to go on the road to Colorado. Oh, man. This is a big game. Who did I have them? Well, I had Colorado winning this originally. But, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They'll be 5-2 with still probably a shot at getting to the Big 12 title. No, I think Colorado, if Colorado's season has already fallen apart to this point, let them get the win. Let them get the win. Let them get the upset. Because a 5-2 team by week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A 5-2 team by week 7, week 8 would probably be top 25. So a top 25 upset. Okay, at home against West Virginia. Nope. No. On the road at Iowa State, yeah. At Kansas State, I don't think so. And then at home against TCU, maybe. I don't know. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 wins. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6-6. I can see Cincinnati, like that TCU game can be a win. The Kansas State game, I think, could also be a win. But we'll have to see. I can see them as a middle of the pack team, like better than UCF, better than BYU, hanging around with the Baylors and Colorado, kind of hanging out in that area for the Big 12. The start of their season is going to be really good. It's that middle chunk, the middle third, where Texas Tech, UCF, Arizona State, and Colorado, where Arizona State might come into town, slap them around a little bit. You never know. Things get a little dicey there at the end of September. October is going to be a stretch, but it's in November where they bounce back. Can they make a run for the Big 12 title? That's yet to be determined. That's my prediction on the UC. Sorry, on Cincinnati. NDSU, week 1. I'm going to put that as a win. At Nebraska, the game last year was closer than everybody expected, but then in the third quarter, that's when it exploded and it turned into a totally different game. Because Nebraska is notorious for having a lot of hype and then they kind of suck. Like, it's weird. Nebraska is such a weird squad. In Nebraska, I'm a little neutral on this one. I don't actually know if they can beat them. Now, at Colorado State, this is going to be a huge game because last year's, that was one of the most viewed games. Look at this. It went into overtime. Shedeur needed to have that last second drive. Now, here's the thing. And here's how I know it was one of the most viewed games. Look at this. If you go to ESPN's website, ESPN, you go to videos, go to popular. Look at this, dude. It's the number 2. The views on this, the media behind it was off the charts. Because of how close that game was, I'm saying a loss. Okay? I know I sound crazy, but I just think they're going into their place this time. At home against Baylor, yeah, I can see that being a win. Baylor's kind of fallen off in recent years. At UCF, yes, I can see that being a win. At home against Kansas State, I don't know about that. Kansas State was pretty good last year. May we remind, they went 9-4. They did win their bowl game, so that's nothing to sleep on. This one I'm going to put at a neutral. Neutral. At Arizona, it's a loss, man. Like Arizona last year, what they win? They won out their last 6 games or something, and they were Alamo Bowl champs against Oklahoma. Like, this Arizona squad's going to be pretty dangerous. Okay, at home against Cincinnati, yep. At Texas Tech, yep. Versus Utah. Make or break. This is going to be a defining game where this might be a rematch later down the line in in Dallas for the Big 12 championship. But at home against Utah with a healthy Cam Rising, I'm going to take the Utes. The Utes ruled the Pac-12. Last year was a little different because Rising was injured, but they beat Caleb Williams the year before. They beat Oregon the year before that. Don't sleep on the Utes. At Kansas, a little neutral for that. Kansas does have a good quarterback. And then against Oklahoma State, last game of the season, going to have to take the Cowboys, man. 5 sure wins. Their toughest games are on the road at Arizona and at Kansas. And then at Colorado, rivalry. I'm circling this Utah game just because I think this could be the defining factor up to that point in the season where do they make a push to try to get to Dallas to play in the Big 12 championship game? Where if they win that and they just roll on that momentum, sneak one out in Kansas and stay strong at home against Oklahoma State, and on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game win streak after losing to Arizona earlier in the season. I mean, momentum's a key thing. So, middle of the pack, little under 500, little over 500 kind of team. They go 6-6 or 5-7. Better than last year, but not to the full potential of an undefeated 12-0, 10-win team. Now, if they do, I mean, hell yeah, that's pretty impressive. But, I mean, they got some big teams that they got to play. They got some really big teams that they got to play. I'd worry about the Arizona game. I'd worry about the Utah game. And I'd worry about the state rival game with Colorado State. Those are the big games. Because they're not running into an Oregon this year or USC or Washington State or Oregon State. Like, there were a lot of really good teams last year in the Pac-12. Like, the Pac-12 was loaded. But it's a new year, new season. So we'll just see. Against UNLV, win. Against Oklahoma, nope. Against Rice, yes. In Cincinnati, I don't know. At home against Iowa State, yeah. In TCU, probably not. At Kansas, probably not. At home against Utah, that has upset written all over it. Same with the Kansas State one. Here, I'm going to put a loss against Arizona here, and I'm going to put a win with BYU, and then I'm going to put a loss at Provo. But the Utah and the Kansas State game, those at home, considering how good Kansas State might be this year or how good Utah is going to be, middle of October, start of November. These have upset written all over them. I don't think they lose both of them. They're going to win one of them. And so give me the win against Kansas State, but then the loss against Utah. So they are a 5-7. Yeah, 1, 2, count them up. Houston, I have them going 5-7. Play their cards right. Maybe a 6-6 kind of team. You know, I'll give them props. I mean, look at this. I like how the social media team did their job, and look how professional this looks. Like, this looks really good. What does Captain America say where he's like, well, they're not the 17 Yankees or something. This isn't the Brees Hall, Brock Purdy, Lazard, Iowa Cyclones, you know. Win against North Dakota. At Iowa. Oh. I'm indifferent just because it's a rivalry game, but probably on the loss side. Against Arkansas State, yeah, that could be a win. At Houston, probably loss. Versus Baylor, sure, a win. At West Virginia, probably not. Versus UCF, I could see that being a win. Versus Texas Tech, I could see that being a win. At Kansas, no. Versus Cincinnati, I can see that being a win. At Utah, no. And then against Kansas State, no. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they are a 6-6, kind of hanging around. They got a tough slate. Like, they got Kansas, Utah, and Kansas State after the bye week. And then not to mention they got West Virginia before the bye week. So a lot of things stacked against them. I don't know how to explain it. But that would be my prediction for this team. Lindenwood, I mean, come on. Let's be real here. That's a W. Home against Unively. Yes. Okay, big road test here. West Virginia. To this point, it'll be their biggest challenge of the season so far because, I mean, come on. At West Virginia, I'm going to say that's a loss. At home against TCU. Ooh. At Arrowhead Stadium. You know what? Because they're... Yeah, why not? I'll give them a win. Away at Arizona. That's most likely probably going to be a win. At home against Houston. Oh, another... Well, what the... Arrowhead Stadium. Dude, they play at Arrowhead Stadium a lot. Hold on, wait a minute. What happened to their stadium? Is their stadium under construction? Oh, I'm seeing images. Yep, if we're seeing images like this, that means it's getting renovated. Well, you know, when they take an aerial view shot of the stadium and they're like, oh, the left half of the stadium, the far side of the stadium is being re-innovated. At home against Houston. Yep. Away at Kansas State. Rivalry game. Nope. Home against Iowa State. Yes. On the road against BYU. I said this against BYU, where BYU's that weird team where they'll play down to their opponents, but then, okay, a 2-loss Kansas team at this point, they are going to be in the top 25. So we have a 7-2, maybe 8-1, maybe 6-3, somewhere in that ballpark, top 25 team in Kansas, you know, coming to town in Provo, and they just magically perform. That does have upset written all over it. I'm a little indifferent. That's a maybe. But, like, look at this. November, end of the season, that just has upset written all over it. If at this time BYU's 2-5 or 3-6. At home against Colorado. Ooh, go back. I'm going to give them the win. And then away on the road at Baylor, I'm going to give them the win. 9-3, 10-2. 9-3, 10-2 with a shot to go to the Big 12 championship. Against UT Martin, win. Against Tulane, win. Against Arizona, it's a close one. Loss. Against BYU, win. Home against Oklahoma State, win. On the road against Colorado, win. At West Virginia, I'm indifferent. I don't know. At home against Kansas, win. At Houston, win. Did it again. Against Arizona State, win. Against Cincinnati, also win. Then, against Iowa State, last game of the season, I don't know. I'm indifferent. Their season just kind of, lines up in that way where they were a good squad last year. They went 9-4, 9-3, and they won their bowl game. Their season seems very favorable of who they play at home. Because if they had to go to Kansas, I could see them losing that. If they had to go on the road and play Arizona, I could see that being a loss. But like their road games, West Virginia and Colorado are probably the toughest ones where they're probably going to lose one of those. I'd lean towards the West Virginia one. But I mean, look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A 9-win, 10-win team again. Berth in the Big 12 championship potentially. Nothing to slouch at. I mean, I think a 10-win team can get to the college playoff. Would they be one of the top 4 or 5 seeds? No, they'd probably be bottom. We'll just have to see. All right, who's next? Kansas State, Oklahoma State. Yeah, baby. See how they're glitching? They're like, ooh, as I wiggle them. Against South Dakota, that's a win. Against Arkansas, an SEC team, even though it's Arkansas, I'm a little indifferent on that one. Tulsa, that's a win. At home against the Utes. I'm a little indifferent about that one too. Utah's probably going to be a really good squad this year. At Kansas State, it's probably going to be a loss. At home against West Virginia, maybe. We'll see. At BYU, yes. Get out of the way. At Baylor, yes. Against Arizona State, yes. At TCU, yes. At home against Texas Tech, yes. Then at Colorado, considering the momentum and how I accidentally lined this up where they're on a 5-game win streak, absolutely. Absolutely. I think they finish the season strong on a 6-game win streak to get to a bowl game. Back here, let's look at West Virginia. Let's look at these. Whoops. West Virginia. I got Utah. I don't think they lose 3 in a row. Like I don't think they start like let's say they start 3-0 and then lose 3. Like they don't start 3-0 and then after week 6 are 3-3. Like I don't think they win 3 in a row, lose 3 in a row, and then win 6 in a row. That'd be crazy. That'd be stinking crazy. If I'm being honest, like I think the Utes with a healthy Cam Rising, because that's always the biggest outlier. I'll give it a win, but I'm cautious leaning towards win. Ceiling 10-2. Ceiling is 10-2. Big 12 championship appearance. Kind of like that 2021 squad when they went and played Baylor. Floor 7-5, 8-4. Like I don't think, like why would they? Like Oklahoma State is a pretty good football team. Like I don't think they would lose lots and lots of games, but it's this stretch right here, just the middle third of Utah, Kansas State, and West Virginia. I'm going to give a lot of hype towards West Virginia because they're kind of a sleeper line. They rattle off 5 conference wins in a row, 6 conference wins in a row. They'll find themselves playing in Dallas for the Big 12 championship, which I think is funny because look at this. When I do their schedule, I come here to Oklahoma State. Scroll down. It's like Big 12 championship, December 7th, Saturday in Arlington, Texas. And it's like, really bold of you to assume that you'll be there. But because no other team so far has done that strategy. 37 days. Oh, we're still too long. Next, TCU. All right. TCU. Long gone are the days of their reign. But that's what happens when, your NFL caliber guys go to the NFL. Okay, at Stanford to start the season off. Give me a W. Versus this Shark team, give me a W. Versus UCF, give me another W. At SMU, give me another W. At Kansas. So 4-0, nice strong start for TCU because TCU is not a bad squad. Did they fly under the radar last year? Exponentially, yes. Because after the Colorado game, it's like, get them out of here. Utah? Nope. Versus Texas Tech? I can see that being a win. At Baylor? A little indifferent. Sometimes those games go back and forth. Versus Oklahoma State? Oklahoma State? I can see that being a win. Versus Arizona? A loss. And then at Cincinnati. So to this point, 1, 2, 3. They're a 3-loss team, maybe 7-3, 8-3, depending on if they win this. At this point, maybe Cincinnati plays as if they have nothing to lose. This looks like this has upset written all over it. This last game where TCU needs a little bit of help. You've seen those graphs where it's like, okay, for TCU to make the Big 12 championship, they need to do this plus have some help. They win their games against Arizona and Cincinnati, but then they also need Utah to lose, Arizona to lose, something like that. Cincinnati just comes in there and has an upset. I would say this team is a 8-4 kind of team. They look like an 8-4 kind of team. Their schedule is pretty favorable. Like their hardest games are at Utah and at Kansas. That's it. Like they don't have to play Kansas State. They don't have to play Colorado. Who's next? Texas Tech. Win. Oh gosh. Washington well, actually, no. Yeah. Yes. At home against the Sun Devils. Yes. At home against Cincinnati. Yes. Okay. Before everybody freaks out. Yes, they start 5-0. But look who they play. Very favorable schedule. This is where it gets tricky. Probably yes. Okay, at TCU. No. At Iowa State. I'll give. How about that? At OSU. No. At home against West Virginia. It depends. I would say it depends on how good both squads are at this time, because what if, like to this point, what if West Virginia's 1-10? What if West Virginia's 8-3 to this point? We got an 8-3. We got an 8-3 team versus a 7-4 team. Or in a weird series of events, we have two undefeated 11-0 teams. I'm going to lean towards the Mountaineers. Texas Tech, middle of the pack, 7-5 kind of team. All right, who's next? UCF. Okay. Oh my gosh, they already got this predicted out till 2027. I just need next year, brother. All right, UCF. Against New Hampshire. Yeah, against Sam Houston. Yeah. Fort Worth, Texas, on the road for TCU. Nope. At home against Colorado. I could see that be like a spoiler game where here comes Colorado. Maybe they're 3-0 to this point, and we're 2-1. We're coming off the loss against TCU. Smack them around a little bit, show them what's good for, and then we go to Florida and we get absolutely whopped against Cincinnati. I'm indifferent. That one, I have no clue. Against Iowa State, I have no clue. It's like two mids going at BYU at home. Yeah, I could see that being a win. At home against Arizona, no. At Florida State, I mean at Arizona State, no. I gotta give it to the Sun Devils, man. So 1, 2, 3, 4 against West Virginia, no. And a Friday game against Utah. Ooh, I'm indifferent because that's a last game of the season. Everything on the line. Like the Big 12 will definitely be on the line. Utah, to that point, they could, like, this game has upset written all over it. But I don't see UCF beating a healthy Utah Ute squad. That's just me. And so this team, 1, 2, 3, only four-ish wins. Okay, who's next? Utah. Damn, that's cold. if David Spade, okay, if there was ever a movie, I could see if there was ever a movie about Cam Rising or David Spade or vice versa, they should play each other. Because this has just the Joe Dirt look all over with the long hair coming out of the ball cap. Holy shit, he's been at Utah forever. W. 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 OSU on the road. This has upset potential, like early. Like, okay, both teams are 3-0. Just with how good Utah is, I gotta take the Utes. Okay, now they come home. Here's the thing. This Arizona game has a lot riding on it. Like, that is a huge test. 2 back-to-back tests. Okay, against the Sun Devils, as much as I would love to see it, it's going to be a win. Now, here's what's fun, and this is where we go to the Sun Devil game, hoping that, ASU gets the upset so we can storm the field, have fun, and celebrate, because they had 2 tough games right here. Not saying that they would mentally come fatigued and drained, but like 2 back-to-back close nail biters against the Cowboys and then the Wildcats, and then the Sun Devils just blow them out. That'd be sick. Will that happen? No. To this point in the season, the Utes very well could be 6-0. Okay, TCU at home. That's a W. On the road at Houston. Shit, this one has upset written all over it too. Because let's be real, let's get this one out of the way. The Holy War. Utes are probably gonna smack them around a little bit. Okay, because it's either Houston or Colorado. One of them has upset written all over it. Because let's be honest, they're gonna beat UCF and they're gonna beat Iowa State. But one of these 2 games, like the Utes are not going 12-0. Now, if they do, I'll eat my words. I'll get that. Oh my gosh, because they've got to lose one of these games. They've got to lose one of these games. And to this point, I'm telling you right now, if Colorado plays how they did last year, where, Colorado started out hot, but then, they ran into Oregon and USC, and like everything just started to unravel a little bit. That was the last. Okay, well, there is context to this because this was the last game of this season, and Shadur was not playing. He was. I don't know who he is, but he was playing, and I think Travis Hunter was sitting out like the second half or something. Cam wasn't there. He was the quarterback. If I would give it to anybody, I would give the loss to Colorado. Like meaning Utes lose this one, give it to Colorado over Houston. But I don't know, because if Colorado's season has already fallen apart to that point, they're not going to win it. Like, the Utes are going to get an easy W. It's going to be a tough W, but they'll still get the W nonetheless. But to that point, I don't think the Utes. Okay, we're 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, 9-0. I don't think the Utes would be 9-0 losing in Colorado to, like, let's say Colorado at that point is 6-3. Floor, they're a 9-4 team. Ceiling, definitely 10-2, 11-1. I think big season for the Utes. Country road, take me home. I hope against Penn State. Sweet revenge. Albany, yes. The backyard brawl. Now, hold on. Who won this game? West. Yeah. Because he was still there. Yeah, that was before he transferred to Rice, and he fell off hard. Because this is going to be at Pitt. This is going to be a classic. At home against Kansas. Yes, sir. At Oklahoma State. Probably not. At home against Iowa State. Yes. At home against Kansas State. Yes. At Arizona. Probably not. At Cincinnati. Give that a win. At home against Baylor. Yep. At home against UCF. Yep. At Texas Tech. Maybe. We'll see to that point. Because what if I mean, what if some of the players on West Virginia are injured? So they're a 2-loss team, leaning towards loss though, where it's a last game of the season we win, we're in the Big 12 title game, but they just can't get it done. 9-3, like almost top, and like they almost get to the Big 12 championship game, but they don't. So who would be? Hold on. So then, according to this, who's my Big 12 championship winner? I mean, who's my big? Ooh, okay. So it could be potentially. I'm potentially leaning towards a Arizona, Utah, Arizona Utah Big 12 championship game, or a Utah Kansas State, Utah Kansas State, or Utah Arizona Big 12 championship game. Man, it's gonna be a fun season. This is gonna be a real fun season. Real fun season. And then on the outside looking in, almost getting there, West Virginia. Where, hey, if they were to have beaten Arizona, this would have been a loss, and it just ooh for kicks and shiggles instead of shits and giggles. For kicks and shiggles, let's say Utah versus Arizona for the Big 12 championship game. Utes win the Big 12 and are probably the 5th seed or 4th seed, or they would probably be the 4th, because I would think the bye. I don't know. I haven't double checked. I definitely will later, but because we're now down to 4 conferences, because come on, Oregon State and Washington State as the only Pac-12 teams. Because there's 4, the SEC championship winner is probably going to be the number 1 seed. The Big 10 championship winner is probably going to be the 2 seed. And then the Big 12 I could see be the 3 seed, and then the ACC will probably be the 4 seed. But if Florida State is undefeated or Clemson is undefeated at that ACC spot, ACC is definitely going to get 3rd. And then the Big 12 would follow up and be the 4th seed. So Utes as the 3rd seed or the 4th seed headed into the playoff, where, hey, we have a home playoff game for the Utes in January. Dude, let's go. I'm going to that game. If the Utes can get that far. Oh, dude, if the Utes get that far, I got to go to that game. That'd be my thoughts right now. Summer prediction, Utes are your Big 12 championship winners. So those are my predictions. Again, we'll probably, once the season gets a little bit closer, because we're still only in July, but once we get to August, September, I'll do an official, this is my prediction, because there's been so much realignment and so much, with the expanded playoff, where I want to take it week by week by week to give the most accurate prediction that I can. And that's going to come with a little bit of time and doing a little bit of research to sound a little bit more professional. But I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.